You're listening to Something Cheeky, a collection of podcasts where two sisters discuss TV, books, and movies with just enough irreverence and far too many pop culture references. Welcome to Something Cheeky, where we discuss the TV series Vikings. I'm Nikki.
I'm Rosanna.
Well, I have watched the entire series. Rosanna has only watched up to what we're covering today, which is the season finale of Season 2, Episode 10, The Lord's Prayer. In this episode, it's just betrayal. Betrayal everywhere. Alright, listeners, we're doing it a little bit differently today. Rosanna's seen the first 23 and a half minutes of this episode, and then I made her stop watching. So we're going to discuss what she's seen so far, and then she's going to watch the last 20 minutes of it, and then we're going to talk about it. We get to hear what Rosanna thinks might happen at the very end, and how she feels about the episode so far. So Rosanna, tell me, what's your reaction so far to this episode?
It's hard to have a reaction to half an episode.
Yeah.
It seemed like I sort of had to stop right in the middle of several different things happening. So when I stopped, Floki and King Horik had decided that Floki needed to kill somebody, and Floki did, so Horik told him his plan, and now I can't decide if Floki did that so he could find out the plan, or he actually is loyal to Horik. So I'm right in the middle of that.
Ah. What do you think? Which one do you think is true?
No idea.
That's a pretty big step to take just to find out a plan.
Well, but if the plan is to kill everyone, maybe he's decided that one person is worth the lives of everybody else. Yeah.
But Torstein.
Yeah, I'm sad that he died. I like that character.
Yeah, me too. He is so much fun. Oh,
Yeah.
It was so much fun. Do you have a favorite quote so far in the 20 minutes you saw?
So the quote that I chose, I need to do two people talking because my quote is only one word.
Okay.
King Horik is talking about not wanting to be the handmaiden of Egbert, and he's got a score to settle, and blah, blah, blah. And Lagertha, he says to Lagertha, "So you agree with me?" And she says, "No." That was my favorite part of this episode so far. No.
Someone finally disagreeing with Horik.
Yeah, I don't agree with anything you have to say. You're an idiot.
Nice. All right, so let's go through the action so far. There's not a ton that you've seen so far. It starts out in Kattegat. Helga's given birth. We didn't actually see that happen like we have for a lot of other people. She just shows up with a baby, which actually makes me worry about her a bit because she lives out, it seems like, on her own.
Yeah, I thought she probably was alone when it happened.
Yeah. Though, they did have that slave, so I wonder if at least she had somebody there to help. But yeah, it's not like she can just ride into the hospital in a cab or something. She takes the baby and she goes and finds Floki, who's asleep on the docks. They have a sweet little moment when he meets his daughter. And he just looks at her and says, "We have a child, Helga." She's like, "Yeah, I know that." Floki wants to name the girl Angrboda, which was Loki's first wife, a giantess. And Helga does not seem very happy with this idea. I looked up the name, that her name means bringer of sorrow.
Jeez, Floki.
Yeah, and she had all these monstrous children. Yeah, it's like he's tempting the gods half the time.
Mm-hmm.
So he is not going to go back home with Helga. He makes her take the baby and leave, and he's kind of mean about it. I wish he would just tell her why. What's your theory on why he wants her to leave? Just because he knows what's coming?
Yeah, I think he probably just thinks it's dangerous to be there.
King Horik's family arrives, and it looks like he has a lot of daughters. And when they are welcomed into Kattegat, the meeting reminded me so much of, I think it was the very first episode of Game of Thrones, when the Baratheons met the Starks in Winterfell. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone's lined up, they're meeting all the family, and it's kind of tense a little bit.
Yeah, very formal.
Yeah, and lots of gifts and things given to them. Horik, they all go into the Great Hall, and Horik introduces his family. Kind of, he just says, "This is my family." We don't actually learn their names for a while. And he says that he sees Ragnar as an equal now, which is a pretty big departure from the last episode when he literally said, "We are not equals."
Yeah, he's so full of it.
Then he suggests marrying their kids. Did you, at that point, believe he might actually be interested in that? Or did you know he was just...
I thought he might be.
I immediately imagined Bjorn as being very unhappy with his suggestion that Ragnar's children marry some of Horik's children since he's in love already. Gunhild, apparently Horik's wife, is also a famous shield maiden who meets Lagertha and wants to know how she became an earl. I was surprised you didn't pick this quote when Lagertha said, "I killed my husband when he invaded me."
That was a good one.
Yeah. And Floki approaches Horik when everyone's all kind of milling around. And apparently Horik hasn't given Floki the actual proposition yet that he mentioned in the last episode that I had assumed they would have just been talking about immediately after.
Right.
And us not hearing it. And Horik says he can't trust Floki. He's not sure he can yet. Which, he's just so obviously a terrible manipulator.
Yeah.
He's so transparent in what he's trying to do. And we see Bjorn just, again, not the smooth operator. He has messed up. He is talking to Porunn, and says that, she says now that she's not a slave, she has choices. That she had loved Bjorn when she was a slave before. And he is so terrible at this. He just looks around at other people and says, there are plenty of other women here.
I'm actually not mad at Bjorn about that, because that's pretty much what she said too. There are plenty of other men. I have choices. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that she's not right to, be happy that she's not a slave now and that they're anywhere on the same level, but she said, I loved you when I didn't have any other option. That's pretty mean.
Yeah. I feel like he could have asked if she still loved him.
I can understand him sort of just reacting to that, having his feelings hurt. I'm sure that's what it was. I mean, how would you like it if somebody said to you, well, I only loved you because you were the only option I had? That's exactly what she's saying to him.
Yeah. I feel like it was a test more than that. And
maybe it was, but that's not really fair to Bjorn either.
That's true.
Either you love him or you don't. And if you don't love him anymore, then just say, I don't love you anymore. And let him move on. If you're going to move on, let him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he said something stupid, but he's a kid. He is stupid.
I mean, this must be his first relationship because he is very, what's the word for just not good at it? He's
very fumbling. He's very inexperienced. I mean, he's very obviously inexperienced. Yeah.
Definitely a lot of fumbling with this. So we get to a feast, and we see Torstein. He's just enjoying the heck out of himself with two women, having a grand old time. We kind of jump around to everybody at this party. There is a lot of drinking. Everybody's drunk. Siggy and Horik are talking, and she gets rejected by him since his family is there, and is not happy about this after all that she's done already. And then Athelstan is confronted by Floki. He's saying nobody wants him there, and that he betrayed them all, and it's his fault Rollo's gonna die. Which is not true, because Rollo would have been dead if not for Athelstan.
But Floki doesn't know that.
That's true. And neither does Rollo.
That's also true.
Apple is not the kind of person to tell them this. Right. Floki seemed kind of in low spirits that night. He talks to Horik again, who says he wants proof that he can trust Floki. He wants him to kill someone who matters. And this is when every look becomes significant. Mm-hmm. Floki's looking around at everybody, particularly Aslog.
Yep. Drunk Aslog.
Yeah. And Horik is staring at drunk Ragnar. And then the next day, there's this, like, some weird Vikings version of quarters being played by the men in the courtyard. Mm-hmm. And Horik is staring at Ragnar and Athelstan and Bjorn and Torstein. Floki ruins the game by catching Athelstan's coin in the air. So, at this point, did you have any idea who Floki might choose?
I thought it was going to be Aslog.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I really did.
For me, it seemed like the obvious choice would have been Athelstan, because he does not like him, but also he's important to Ragnar.
I considered that he was important to Ragnar, but it actually doesn't make any sense that he didn't pick him because he doesn't like him. But maybe he was trying to pick someone that he wouldn't be a suspect.
Ah, that's a very good point.
And if Athelstan turned up dead, everyone would be like, well, that was obviously Floki. Nobody hated him more. So maybe he was being smart about it.
Yeah. Oh, and Floki does kind of throw a big fit about, we're going to find the person who killed Torstein and get him and flay him and all this. And
that made me really sad.
Yeah.
Because he seemed really sincere.
He did.
He really did. And I don't want to be tricked.
And it was last episode when he was so offended when Ragnar questioned his trustworthiness.
Yeah.
And it has not been very long till we got to here. So Floki goes up in the hills and picks some mushrooms. And they look pretty spooky.
I had no idea what the heck he was doing.
Oh, no.
I did not follow that at all. I was like, there's Floki just being weirdo Floki again.
He's just helping with dinner. It's fine.
Well, you think about Vikings, you think about how much of the show we've seen, you just assume that if he's going to kill someone, it would be with a blade.
Yeah.
It didn't even occur to me that he was going to poison somebody.
So we have a little short dinner scene with the important people. Bjorn is talking about how he thinks they should return to Wessex in the summer and settle the land, or go fight for Quenthrith. And your quote, where Horik doesn't want to be Egbbert's handmaiden, doesn't know if they can trust Egbert. And Athelstan, who I'm a little surprised is actually at the table with everyone here. He thinks Egbert's telling the truth, and Lagertha thinks he's being naive about it. So Floki goes to visit Rollo. He's talking to Siggy for a while, asking if she thinks he'll ever walk again. She doesn't know, but he's not doing well, it seems like. Floki sends Siggy off to get some sleep, since she's been a caregiver basically night and day since Rollo's been home, it seems like. Which seems suspicious to me. What about to you?
Why does it seem suspicious to you?
Did he send her away?
Oh, yes, that was suspicious. And she almost seemed suspicious. Though, I guess I didn't realize what kind of relationship they had. I was really surprised when he touched her face. That seemed really familiar.
Yeah.
Not like in a weird way, just that they were close enough that they both felt comfortable enough with that.
Intimacy?
Yeah, just,
Do you think that maybe they weren't comfortable with that, and he was just trying to con her into being okay with all of it by comforting her?
Maybe. I mean, she didn't seem surprised, I guess, is what I thought. She didn't seem surprised that he touched her face.
Okay. So Floki goes in, and it's just Floki and Rollo. And he reminds Rollo that he almost killed him once before. And he's brought him something, the food of the gods. And according to the internet, food of the gods in Viking culture usually refers to something hallucinogenic.
Ah.
So it kind of makes sense that Rollo would have eaten it, even though Floki kind of just forced it down his throat.
Yeah, I don't think Rollo had a choice.
Yeah, couldn't move enough. Rollo goes kind of, he gasps and goes still, and that's all we see of him, right? You haven't seen anything else of him?
Right.
What's going on with Rollo? Theories?
I think he got poisoned, but I don't think he's gonna die.
You don't? Okay, how come?
I mean, I don't know how he's not going to, because obviously it killed Torstein.
He's a big guy.
It's true.
But I don't know.
Maybe it takes longer on him, and he's able to tell Siggy, and maybe she somehow, sticks her finger down his throat, or, figures out a way to counteract it, or I don't know.
True love's kiss.
Yeah, exactly. True love's gag.
So go get Lagertha.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not like, even though he's big, it's not like he's in very good health. So,
yeah.
It's not good.
I will say, the one weird thing about this is that we see people a little bit after. You would think that that Siggy would have told somebody. Though, if she's asleep, God knows how long she'll sleep until she wakes up to see what's happened.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. You'd think after all that Rollo's been through, that it wouldn't be mushrooms that finally took him down.
Every time he gets hurt or something, it's like, really, after all that, you're just going to kill him? That doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if Floki did kill Rollo, I mean, that would be such a slap in the face to Ragnar. I mean, just like, hey, remember how you didn't think I was loyal? Well, you're right.
You should trust your gut, Ragnar. So we get to the feast. Floki, God, just bringing a kid into this. Floki gets Ubi to give Torstein the pouch of mushrooms and threatens him with this horrible story about Loki. Says it's their little secret. If he tells anyone that it was Floki that gave them to Torstein, then something very similar to what happened to Loki will happen to poor little Ubi. Apparently the story is that Loki was locked in a cave, or stuck in a cave and tied up with snake venom dripping onto his face forever.
Forever.
Which is really unpleasant.
It kind of reminds me of on Mrs. Doubtfire when the kids go over to the dad's house and one of the older daughters complaining about it and stuff. Anyway, the brother says something about his dad wishing his mom got dysentery. And the little girl says, "What's dysentery?" And he says, "It means you have diarrhea forever." And she goes, "Diarrhea forever? Why would Daddy want Mommy to have diarrhea forever?"
Oh my god.
It's disgusting.
I guess I'm glad Torstein seemed to die pretty quickly. That's
I'm sure he had the same kind of like King Joffrey strangle myself, turn purple for 10 minutes. It's like, just die already. I'm sure Torstein just sat there and was like, "Guys, I'm about to die." And then he just tipped over.
What, no death scene like Paul Rubens in Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
It's the greatest death scene ever.
Are you looking? Oh! Yes, it is amazing. Listeners, I'll find the clip of that. It goes on, like, through the credits and everything.
So
the really old Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie, not the TV show. But Paul Rubens has an amazing death scene. It is so good. Spoilers for a movie that came out like 25 years ago.
Spoiler. You totally gave it away.
Yeah.
It's the plot of the whole movie was whether this guy was going to die or not. You ruined it.
Oh my god. And Luke Perry now is in all sorts of stuff.
Have you watched Riverdale?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
It's weird that all the parents are people that I saw on TV shows when I was in high school.
Yeah, they're us.
They look so old.
I know.
Though they are older than us.
They're like in their 50s, right? Or late 40s.
I'd say probably late 40s. Because they must have been mid-20s, like with 90210 time.
Yeah. Well, except for Andrea, who was like 32. She's
right.
Probably collecting Social Security right now.
So Torstein's found on a rock with blood around his mouth, and Bjorn is very upset about this.
And a bunch of puke, right?
Maybe.
To me, it looked like he had thrown up.
I think you're right. And so Floki's going off about how they'll find the guilty one, and you see Ubi going, like, what? And then he's like, crap, when he realizes that he can't say anything because of what Floki told him, which makes me feel so bad that he should be able to say something.
That's hard for a little kid to have to keep a secret like that.
Yeah. So Horik goes to see Floki. He now trusts him, with good reason. We find out his plan is to kill Ragnar and Aslog and Lagertha and all their children.
But maybe or maybe not, Bjorn. Just try your best. Because apparently he's impossible to kill. But you figure it out, Floki.
Yeah, it reminded me when he said Bjorn's difficult to kill. It reminded me of when Ragnar said Rollo was difficult to kill.
Oh, yeah.
To Bjorn. I'm like, I think you're all difficult to kill. Just, Vikings in general seem difficult to kill. And then we see Aslog and Lagertha down on the beach watching the big storm come in. And Aslog says the gods are coming. It seems very ominous.
So they're both on to something.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the next day we're in the marketplace, and Bjorn is trying to get Thorn back. She says she wants respect. He says he wants to worship her. Not what she's looking for. So she wants to fight him. And then we see Floki in the background picking up a weapon while he watches this. And that's where I made you stop. This whole fight Thorn wants seems a bit odd. I mean, I know she's been training, but I'm not sure exactly what she plans to get out of fighting with Bjorn.
I think it's completely ridiculous, and I'm mad at her for suggesting it. I think she's being...
petulant?
I'm not a big fan, and I know this sounds super cliche, but I'm not a big fan of, like, the playing games in a relationship. Just say what you want, say what you mean, and mean what you say, and quit messing around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's fair to the other person. Also, I love you, so I want you to try to kill me. Where the heck does that make sense?
Well, she didn't say kill, she said fight.
You know that he's not going to actually give her a real fight, though. She must know that.
Yeah, though, maybe just accepting it and trying to do it will show that he respects her enough to give her that opportunity. Isn't quite right, but...
He can't win.
Yeah, that's true.
If he doesn't fight her for real, she's going to feel like he doesn't respect her as a warrior. If he does fight her for real, he'll probably kill her. She has put him in an impossible situation. It's insane. She's insane. I'm really frustrated with her. I want to like her, but I can't like her just because she's a female warrior and a female character. I'm not going to do that. I don't like what she's doing. I mean, like, I'm all about girl power, but not every girl, because if you don't deserve it, I'm not giving it to you.
Well, this is manipulative.
It really is. To a guy that all he's done is try to tell her how much he cares about her.
Yeah.
Just tell him you love him too, or let him go. Let him go marry his princess. I mean, so he believes that he's going to live because his father told him this year said he's going to marry a princess, but then he's still courting a girl who's not a princess. So which is it, Bjorn? Do you believe the seer or do you not? Because if you did believe the seer, you wouldn't even bother with her. It would be a waste.
Well, maybe he can have 2 wives. Ragnar wanted it.
Yeah, she doesn't strike me as the type that would be down for 2 wives.
Also, I can't imagine a princess would be cool with being a second wife.
Was kind of into it.
I guess that's true, isn't it?
I mean, she was willing to go along with it because she wanted to stay with Ragnar. To her, it was worth it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what those girls thinking. It's not good.
So, what do you think is going to happen in the rest of the episode before you go watch it?
What do I think or what do I hope?
Both.
I hope that we discover that Floki was loyal to Ragnar all along and that he regrettably killed Torstein so he could find out Horik's plan because he felt that it was for the greater good.
Do you think Ragnar could forgive him for killing Torstein for that?
I don't know. If this was last season, I would say yes, because I think they were a lot closer last season. But Ragnar has definitely sensed this shift in loyalty, and
yeah.
I mean, I want it to be an act, but I also want it to always be an act. I wanted the Falconer to be a good guy in Lies of Bucklemore, and he turned out to be the worst guy. So...
He wasn't he?
I'm not a very good judge of character, like literal characters. I like Floki, so I want him to come out as a good person. I want him to Snape it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know, though, if that's an apt comparison, because Snape wasn't actually a good person.
But at the end, Snape was working for the good side.
That's true. He was a necessary evil.
Yeah. But I think if that were true, then Floki, when he was meeting Horik secretly, he could have just killed Horik. And that would have solved all of it. So I don't know what he's doing. I mean, it feels like he's on Horik's side. I just don't want him to be.
All right, listeners, Rosanna has now watched the second half of the episode. Rosanna, what do you think?
This was a really good season finale.
Good.
I liked that I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and I was surprised several times.
So, listeners, you don't know this, but Rosanna and I remotely watched the end of the episode together, and when the man in the hooded cloak turned around and took his hood off and you saw it was Torstein, she went, "Oh, he's alive!" It was really fun. I've been waiting for that part. That's why I broke this in half, for that big reveal.
It never even occurred to me that they were going to fake that. I just...
Yeah.
That thought never crossed my mind. And it's brilliant.
I'm really glad it didn't.
Yeah.
It was very Romeo and Juliet with the fake out death.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into what happened, unless you have more to say.
I'm not at all sad that Horik's dead. Because
I don't think anyone is.
That guy was driving me crazy.
Yeah, he was pretty terrible.
He was pretty terrible. He was so, I mean, we've said it a million times, just so dumb and what's the opposite of subtle? Because that's what he is.
Obvious.
Yeah, just he always thinking that he was a master manipulator and never having manipulated anybody.
That's true. I don't think he got away with it at any point.
He didn't. He really didn't.
It's funny, too. We started out, when we first met Horik at Uppsala, we kind of liked him.
Yes,
especially
I did like
since,
him.
With Donald Logue and everything, he was
yeah
always fun to watch. And then, when he started doing all the political machinations, it just got bad.
Well, he started doing things that were getting people hurt and killed based on his actions. And that doesn't work for me.
He always seemed very short-sighted.
Yes, definitely.
Just very impulsive in that he wanted immediate gratification.
Yeah,
for everything.
Definitely.
You described him as a child several times, and I think that is a perfect description of him.
Very adolescent acting. I'll also say that even though I couldn't predict how this was going to work out with Floki not being a traitor,
right?
I did say that that's what I was hoping, and I couldn't figure out how he was going to do it, but I really, really, really hoped that he really was loyal to Ragnar. And when he killed Torstein, I was like, what?
You rationalized that so badly. You were saying like, well, he had to do it to find out the plan.
Right.
And it's one death over 100. It's better in the long run. Even though you love Torstein.
I just wanted Floki to still be good at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, they spent the better part of 3 episodes convincing us that he was changing loyalties.
Yeah. Well, and they built it up so much before that about how strong his faith is, and then as soon as they started playing on that, it made it so much more believable.
So let's go through the action of the second half of the show. So we start out with Siggy and Rollo at this point. Rollo actually gets up and gets out of bed. Were you surprised at that point that he was alive?
I wasn't surprised that he was alive, but I didn't think it was a good idea for him to get up since his leg was broken.
Yeah, and he stumbled and fell very quickly.
And again, I have no idea how much time has passed between episodes, because we never know. Since his leg was broken, it hasn't been that long. Not long enough for it to heal enough to stand on, but he tried anyway.
Did. Siggy doesn't want him to give up, and he asks why she cares. And it was nice to hear her say, what did she say? Do you want an honest answer? I don't know. But I still think you may be useful somehow. Such a burn. The look on his face when she said that was like, all right, now I know. Thanks for telling me. And she made an interesting choice. When she left, she picked up the axe and put it out of his reach.
I didn't know that that's what she was doing.
Did you notice that?
It's sort of... Okay, this is terrible. It sort of seemed to me like she was pointing out, here's the axe. Kill yourself if you want to.
Oh my god.
because remember before when...
Yeah.
It just to me, it felt like she was tired of his self-pity.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
like, either do it or don't do it. Just, get over it and move on, or just kill yourself. It just, whatever, just make a choice. That's what it sort of seemed like to me.
And obviously, at some point, he got up again to go get it.
Yeah.
Before he knew anyone was coming to kill him. So that makes you wonder, what was the reason he was trying to get it? To prove to himself he could actually move, or maybe to kill himself? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
But it was awfully lucky that he had done that, because then he had a weapon when they came in. Because otherwise he would have been unarmed.
Yeah.
And after Siggy leaves, Horik approaches her and says she can be of use to him. All she has to do is go to the Great Hall at sunset and kill Ragnar's children.
Okay, I'm going to be totally honest about this.
Mm-hmm.
They had me going.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to kill the kids.
Yep. He said he would marry her and make her a queen.
Well, and and then at the beginning of the episode, if you watch the part where they say previously on Vikings, they even showed the scene with her and the seer, and her saying, I want that position back.
So he gives her this ivory-handled knife, and she goes about her business. I kind of wanted you to see that part before we cut the episode. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want you to see Rollo getting up, because I wanted you to still think he may have been killed by Floki.
Right.
So I left that. Then we go to the forest. Bjorn and Thorin are going to have this stupid, ridiculous fight.
Oh my god, this fight's so dumb.
He drops the weapons and shrugs like, this is what you wanted. What am I gonna do? And then she just starts attacking him, hits him in the face, makes his nose bleed. And he's like, what was that? He seems surprised that she knows kind of how to fight. Mm-hmm. It's still very amateurish, but it's obvious that she has done a little bit of training.
Right. That she practices.
She keeps going, and he actually starts to fight her. I'm not sure if it's that he wants to, or if it's kind of a reflex for him at that point.
Yeah.
And he's still grabbing her and asking her to stop. He just does not want this to happen. She manages to flip him, but unsurprisingly, he pulls her down with him because he is very well trained. Mm-hmm. And she trips him. I mean, they're just all over each other. She punches him in the face again. He hits her. And then she runs away after he hits her. And he seems so regretful. He's saying he's sorry. He runs after her, trying to find her. She's hiding behind this tree. And then they start making out. Because apparently he has shown her the respect that... Well, 2 things. He apparently has shown her the respect that she wanted by being willing to fight her. Mm-hmm. And 2, I think she realizes that she's not gonna beat him. I don't know if she thought she was going to beat him. I'm not quite sure exactly what she thought was going to happen here.
I don't know either.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I'm not really a big fan of her right now.
Yeah.
I just don't like this character very much. She seems kind of manipulative.
She does.
I mean, I think she's manipulating Bjorn. That's what she's doing. She's messing with him. I don't know if it's just because she all of a sudden has, power and rights and freedom that she doesn't know how to handle him. Maybe and she doesn't know how to interact with him not being a slave anymore. Maybe that's part of it, but I don't like it.
Yeah. It kind of pans off and we see Floki in the bushes, like, I don't know, like the Lion King or something, just kind of crawling forward. And then he pulls this sword out, and what they make us think is that Bjorn's in a very vulnerable position right now because he's, doing it up with his lady.
Right.
But what did you think at this point? Did you think that Floki was there to kill him?
I never thought that Floki would kill Bjorn.
What did you think that was happening?
Well, I didn't think he was there to protect him either. I thought maybe he was just wanting to know where Bjorn was at. Like,
then why pull the sword?
Were
you just in complete denial?
I mean, he's Floki. What do you expect with this guy? No. I just kept remembering all of these scenes that we had with Floki and Bjorn when Bjorn was younger and now that he's older. We've gotten these little glimpses of their relationship, and even if Floki wanted to kill Ragnar and whatever the plan would have been, if he killed Ragnar, a position or something, I still don't think he would kill Bjorn because I think he cares about him. And it's not Bjorn's fault that, Ragnar is where he's at, so it wouldn't be fair to take it out on him.
That being said, I think it would be insane for Floki to ever be around Bjorn again if he killed Ragnar, because Bjorn would go after him.
Yeah, he would.
It's not like they could ever have a relationship after that.
No, but sacrificing the relationship might be worth it to Floki if it meant that Bjorn was still alive.
We have a quick little scene with Horik and Erlander where Horik shows his son the Sword of Kings. Very fancy sword. Looks very nice. And he's saying they're going to have to fight in a frenzy to kill all of Ragnar's family. And I was just thinking berserker frenzies. So we get the scene with Ragnar and Athelstan at the waterfall. And
praying.
As you had perfectly predicted last episode, that this episode was called The Lord's Prayer because Athelstan was going to teach Ragnar the Lord's Prayer, which is exactly what happened. I cannot believe you predicted that because I never would have thought it was that literal.
You never know when something just, strikes you in a funny way, and of course I didn't think that was actually going to be it.
While they're praying, Ragnar's just repeating the words after him, after Athelstan, we see kind of different things happening around Kattegat. Mm-hmm. Erlander is looking kind of nervous and welcoming 2 ships full of warriors onto the shore. They're all sneaking in through some back harbor, I guess. We see Aslog standing in the Great Hall doorway with Siggy ushering away the boys in the background, which was very ominous.
To murder them, is what I thought.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely.
They definitely framed things in a way to trick you until the very end.
Yes.
We see Horik's wife, Gunhild, getting tied into her armor. She's got a big old sword. At that point, I was wondering, I wonder how she'd feel about a second wife of Siggy, just like Lagertha would have felt about another wife. And then Horik and his men gather on the hilltop and start invading at dusk. They start killing all these poor villagers that have nothing to do with this conflict. I always feel bad for the innocent, unnamed villagers.
I do too. They're just trying to live their lives and farm and raise goats and stuff. Just leave them alone.
Rollo has gotten his axe. Right as men come in, he's quite surprised to see people coming in to kill him. But we can tell that he's gonna do something. He's not gonna die easily. As we know, the Lothbrocks do not die easily.
Exactly.
And then even Athelstan joins the fray. He hesitates at first, he leans out and kind of jumps back, and then he says part of the prayer, the deliver us from evil, and then jumps out and starts fighting. Mm-hmm. Which was a very interesting choice for him to use part of a Christian prayer to gird himself for a Vikings fight is such an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah. It's almost like it was just a habit
Yeah.
to use that prayer.
And then Lagertha strutting through the courtyard with all her warriors behind her, just looking so badass.
She's so cool.
They could have put that in slow motion and it wouldn't have surprised me.
I would have been alright with that. She's so cool.
She goes into Gunhild's tent. I was just thinking, she did. She is not gonna last.
Totally.
There is no way Lagertha is not winning this fight.
Oh, yeah.
Lagertha kills Gunhild and then sees all the children, which I was wondering, I wonder if they call them princes and princesses, since they're the daughters and sons of a king and queen, or if they even have that title in Norse history. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming if you've got the title king, you're gonna have some sort of title for his children.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't it be prince and princess? I don't know. But it doesn't matter, because they're all dead, which made me really sad.
Yeah. Lagertha was looking at them, all huddled behind the bed. I couldn't tell if she was planning on killing them or not. I know she wouldn't have wanted to, but that doesn't mean that she wouldn't have.
I don't know either. I think it would have been hard for her because she's lost children. And, she has feelings. I wish nobody had killed them. I wish they could have all just been Theon Greyjoys.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I mean,
mm-hmm.
It was through no fault of their own.
In what way? Because,
Okay, I don't want him to turn into Grey Worm. No, not Grey Worm. That's the other guy.
Reek.
I don't want him to turn into Reek. But just...
Well, technically, they do have very similar attributes.
Okay, I just wanted them to, be fostered out to other families.
Yeah.
And raised. I mean, did they have to be murdered? They had nothing to do with this conflict. But I guess...
No.
But see, and I don't understand why they didn't kill Erlander. Because he is out of all of them, most likely to fight this later.
Yeah, the most dangerous one for them to leave alive.
Him thinking that he has a right to that throne. The other ones wouldn't have thought that. Because they were all so young. I don't understand leaving him alive, but killing all the rest. I'm glad we didn't know any of their names or get to know any of them very well.
Mm-hmm. Because
that would have been really rude of the show. Don't make us care about the pig and then serve it for dinner.
That's a terrible
analogy. I know. They're people.
Lagertha leaves because a man tells her Ragnar wants her in the hall. And then he has this super creepy look on his face when he's looking at all the kids or the girls. The older girls, maybe. I wasn't sure if he was planning on killing them or, raping the girls or what was going to happen next. But I did not like whatever was going to happen next.
Yeah.
And we find out, of course, he kills most of them. It was strange that he left the older girls alive, and I worry that he left them alive because he raped them. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then Bjorn runs into Floki outside running around in the melee and asks where he's been. He's been looking for him. And Floki just says he's been looking after him as he promised Ragnar, which is very sweet. Did you believe him? Because he's still a very suspicious character at this point.
Not really. I didn't believe him. I don't know if he was trying to be comforting to Bjorn by using Ragnar's name. Maybe to make Bjorn feel better about what was going on, but I was still like, I don't know what's happening. Why is he being so mean?
Well, and we saw what kind of acting he can do earlier in the episode when he was going crazy about killing Torstein.
Yeah. I'm so... I forgot about that part, that I'm so relieved that he was acting, but it wasn't because he killed him. It wasn't... Yeah. He wasn't acting to cover up that he actually killed him, because that made me sad how good he was at it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that that's not really the case.
We get to the Great Hall, the big climactic scene at the end of the episode. Horik walks in with his men, sees a man sitting there in a cloak, and calls out to Ragnar. But it's not Ragnar, it's fucking Torstein, and it's awesome, and he's alive, and I'm so happy.
I'm so happy he's alive, too. I was really sad that they killed such a likable character. Especially because...
Eric.
Yeah, I was going to say, back in season 1, he was such a great character. So sad.
They killed off all the joyous Vikings.
Yeah. They killed off the ones that we were happy to watch.
The lighthearted ones.
Yeah.
Very quickly, everyone but Horik and Erlander are killed on Horik's side.
And, you just think, Horik, if you had a half a brain, you would know that you're never going to be better than Ragnar. You're just not going to.
If he had half a brain, he wouldn't keep trying to manipulate people and do it so badly.
Oh my god, he's so bad.
He was always so transparent.
Yes. So bad. Just the worst.
So Floki walks in. What were you thinking at this point? Were you just vindicated?
I was relieved. I guess is the best word. Just like, oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. Horik says Floki has betrayed the gods, and Floki says, "No, King Horik. I was always true to the gods. I only betrayed you." Which is a great line.
Yeah.
Even through this, he still keeps up his piety.
Yeah.
We get a nice genuine moment from Horik, where he asks one thing, that they spare his son.
That's like the only thing he's ever done that I liked. He didn't ask them to spare his life because he knew that that wasn't going to happen. But he just asked for his son.
As this happens, we start to see all the major characters kind of filter in the background. Lagertha's there, Aslog comes in, we see Athelstan. I mean, we've got all the people there kind of watching this whole scene go on. And it just seems like more very visual support of Ragnar, showing that, Horik couldn't get all these people. And Siggy, which is great to see her come in too. Because at this point, I remember in the episode, you were still wondering if you thought she had killed the children.
I thought she was on board with Horik for sure.
And you were, because I think you said something like, "Oh, Siggy's screwed now." So as Ragnar usually is, he just sits there or stands there quietly, not saying a word. We don't know if he's thinking it over or if he's just building suspense like he's so good at.
Yeah. Do you think that Horik this whole time is like, "Please don't do a blood eagle, please don't do a blood eagle"?
He's lucky that the Borg already got the blood eagle this season because they wouldn't do it twice. Right. So, lucky him.
I mean, if you're comparing the two characters, Horik totally deserved it more than Borg. He really did.
He really did.
So.
He did all the backstabbing that Borg did not do.
Yeah, and it's his fault that Borg was in the position he was in anyway. So, he should have gotten it.
One person that shows up in the background that was an interesting kind of lingering shot was Bjorn. They showed him, and he just looks relaxed, leaning against a wall. And he has this incredibly dangerous look on his face, like I've seen him have a couple of times now. They show him every once in a while just with this look where it seems like he's enjoying someone else's misery.
Yeah.
And that makes me nervous about who he is and who he's going to become as the series continues. Mm-hmm. This reminds me that there's more to him than just, an 18-year-old kid who's nervous about being in a battle. Mm-hmm. And, is the son of a very famous man. There's a lot more to him than that.
And famous for somewhat violence.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not all he's famous for, but that's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. So Horik seems to want to make them believe that he'll give himself up if they don't hurt his son. So he starts just walking forward towards Ragnar. Continues to walk and doesn't fight back as Lagertha slashes him in the back. He gets stabbed by somebody. He just keeps going. It's like the worst gauntlet ever. I was imagining what's the Lancelot movie with Richard Gere?
Oh.
Is it Sean Connery that's in it?
Yeah, Sean Connery's King Arthur and Richard Gere's Lancelot. What was that movie? I don't remember what that was called.
But there's this gauntlet that he has to run as Lancelot. And it's this very dangerous thing, and I was just imagining, like, a really not fun version of that, because it was kind of funny in the movie. Or even, like, the run that the man in, I think, the very first episode had to do when he had been caught stealing, and he had to run down the line of people, and they were throwing rotten vegetables at him.
Yeah.
First Night. The movie is called First Night. He gets up to Ragnar and nails, and I think at this point he kind of has to, because he's pretty badly injured. Siggy walks up to Ragnar and smiles, this nasty smile, and gives Ragnar the knife that Horik had given her. I'm just amazed at the loyalty that Ragnar inspires.
Yeah.
She had said before how angry she was about losing her position, which was Ragnar's fault. Mm-hmm. And she's been, in a relationship with Rollo, who's been treated not awesomely. I mean, for a good reason, but Ragnar hasn't been super nice to him all this time. And so she has a lot of reasons not to be loyal.
I'd like to think that part of her loyalty is to Lagertha.
Oh, okay.
Because they spent time together after Lagertha became the Earl's wife, and she also spent time with Bjorn. I mean, they all lived in the same household, right?
Yeah, so it's Maybe it's the family and not the man that she's loyal to.
Maybe. I mean, I think she's loyal to Ragnar too, but I'd like to think that one of the reasons she's so loyal to Ragnar is because of her loyalty to Lagertha.
I'm also not sure that she trusts that Horik would do what he says, either. I wouldn't trust him.
She probably just knew that, if she stayed on Ragnar's side, Ragnar would kill Horik and she'd never have to have sex with him again.
That's a good reason.
That was the only way to get her out of this hole she had dug for herself, was Horik dying.
Yeah, if I were her, I wouldn't have believed that he would marry me and make me queen, and that his wife would accept me, even though Rollo was not a great prospect at this point.
I didn't think it was believable that Horik would make her queen, but I believed that she was desperate enough to risk it.
Just goes to show what happens when you call a woman your whore.
She gets you murdered.
Yeah. With your own knife. And Ragnar, always the showman, just drags this out for maximum drama.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody walks out and leaves them alone, and he's just kneeling. They're just kneeling in front of each other. Erlander is the only person left who has to watch this happen. I'm not sure exactly at what point Erlander got to leave, or if he had to watch Ragnar just go crazy. He stabs him, then he starts headbutting him over and over again, and then later they cut back to him, and he's hitting him with an axe over and over again. He's just got all this rage to work out. I mean, the guy's long dead.
Yeah,
by that point.
That was a bit much for me. I didn't need that part.
Yeah. We see Bjorn walk into the hut that had all of Horik's children, realizing that they're all dead, and is not happy about this. And I don't think it was the plan to kill them, because he seemed surprised that they were dead. Except the 3 older girls, and he lets them leave. God knows where they're gonna go. I mean, they've got nothing. They have no family left. It's not like they can just hop on a ship and sail back home.
Well, they have Erlander.
Well, that's true. Okay.
I mean, not that he has any power, but at least he's, kind of an adult.
Yeah. I feel bad for all the poor kids caught in the crossfire.
Yeah.
So Bjorn recovers the sword, the fancy king sword. I wish that it had a name, like a Game of Thrones kind of, or a Song of Ice and Fire kind of name.
Yeah.
Those swords have the best names.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Ice and Oathkeeper and all that.
Needle.
Wasn't
that Arya's?
Yes.
Sticking with the pointy end.
Have you seen the Jimmy Kimmel? It just came out, I think, yesterday or the day before. So, listeners, it's going to be a couple weeks old for you since we record this and then put it out a couple weeks later. But Kit Harington, who plays Jon Snow on Game of Thrones, did a video for Jimmy Kimmel, his quote-unquote audition tapes from Game of Thrones, where he auditions for several characters, mainly the female characters.
Awesome.
Have you seen this? And one of them that he does...
I've seen that it was posted, but I haven't actually watched it.
Yeah, one of the characters he auditions for is Arya. He comes in on his knees with kneeling on shoes, so it looks like he's a lot shorter.
Gosh.
And he has a little cardboard sword. And he talks like this. I'm gonna stick you with the pointy end. It's just...
I'm sure that Maisie Williams really appreciated that.
Oh, yeah. I have a feeling they'll get along very well, the Stark children.
Yeah.
I'll post that in the show notes, the link to that video. It's really funny. Who else is he? He does...
Daenerys, I'm sure.
Yeah, he does Daenerys. He does Hodor.
Oh my gosh.
He does Ygritte as well. And he just has horrible accents for all of them. Also, his wig for Ygritte just looks like the Little Mermaid. It's way too dark red. And it's great. And then the episode ends with King Ragnar sitting atop a cliff with his new sword.
Yeah.
And that cliff is a famous cliff. I am going to attempt to pronounce it. Preikestolen. It's the preacher's pulpit or pulpit rock. It's in Norway, and it's this super tall cliff. It's like 2,000 feet tall.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's very popular to tourists. There was even a granite sculpture of it erected in a town in Denmark just to commemorate it. I don't know how big that was.
Commemorate a mountain?
Yeah, they just made a little cliff for him.
I don't understand that. Why didn't they just go to the mountain? Why did they make a little mountain?
Also, this is really weird, but apparently in China you can buy compressed air from that area in a can.
Because of course you can. Why wouldn't you?
Yes, really weird.
That's insane.
Oh my god. So that is the episode. How do you feel about this season?
I'm really excited to watch the next season and see what's going on with Ragnar now that he's a king.
Do you think there'll be another time jump, or like we've seen previously? Or do you think it'll jump right into it?
I wouldn't be surprised if they jumped ahead a little.
Okay.
I don't know if they want him to be a little more settled as king, but it seems like he would have to travel back to tell the people, hey, I'm your king now, or something. I don't know. I don't know how that works when you kill somebody and you take over their territory. Do you, like, go have a town hall meeting, or, you know, here's his head, I'm the king now. I don't know what what's the word? I don't know the...
Protocol?
Yeah, I don't know what the protocol is for that.
Or if there even is one.
I mean, it seems like you'd have to tell them.
Well, word seems to travel pretty fast. I mean, Lagertha had news about Kattegat when she lived in Hedeby.
Maybe.
Pretty quickly.
Maybe.
Fast enough to help.
Maybe Ragnar will send some people to give the notification. Like Bjorn, maybe.
Oh, maybe. I'm not even sure if there's a capital at this point, the way that most countries have capitals. Maybe that's a more modern idea, really.
Yeah, I don't know the history of capitals. I barely know which capitals there are, so...
Need to hear the Animaniacs song of capitals.
Do they have a capital song? I know they have a countries, but I don't remember the capitals.
There's a Capitals of the United States song.
Yeah, I live in the United States, and I don't even know all of them.
I did in 5th grade, but really I've forgotten most.
To be fair, there are 50 states. That's a lot to remember.
That's true.
Because, like, in some countries, they just have one, so...
Yep.
Like most countries, so, you know.
We just have one capital of the whole country, but yeah, 50 is a lot. So, at what point do you think that Floki started being a double agent? Because some of this could have been natural progression, him getting angry, or do you think from the very beginning, when Horik started taking him into his confidence, when he started publicly distancing himself from Ragnar, do you think that was on purpose?
I think, So based on the scene...
Because it's also possible that Ragnar just noticed what was going on, that he was getting distant and decided to try to bring him back into the fold and then use him in that way.
So based on the scene between Floki and Helga, when she tells him that she's pregnant and they decide to get married and he doesn't invite Ragnar, based on that scene, it seems that Floki was getting frustrated with Ragnar. And that wasn't for show. That was just him saying, you know, what he was feeling.
Are you sure that wasn't for show?
It was just him and Helga.
It doesn't mean he didn't tell her anything when he told her to go back home.
But why would he need to lie in front of her when she wasn't going to be going with him anyway?
He needed some excuse not to invite Ragnar to the wedding.
Why?
Because she would wonder why he didn't invite Ragnar to the wedding.
But
he had to tell her something. And I don't know when this whole trick started. So it's certainly possible that he, you know, that was legitimate, but I can see that as that being part of the plan. It's a mystery to me that they don't ever make this clear when the deception started.
I don't think that Horik ever had Floki the way he thought he did. Ever. I don't think he ever did. I think even if Floki was mad at Ragnar or frustrated with him or disagreed with him, I don't think it would have ever been enough for him to switch loyalty completely from Ragnar to Horik.
All right, what about this? Do you think Torstein was in on it? Or if he just got this whole poisoning as a super fun part of the plan he didn't know about?
I never even thought about him not knowing. I just assumed that they wouldn't poison him without his knowledge.
Well, the best way to keep a secret is to not tell anybody.
That's just mean. I do not support that theory.
Yeah, I wonder if he knew or not. Because the whole exchange between Torstein and Floki when he got the mushrooms at dinner, Floki was so adamant about nobody knowing, and it wasn't, unless somebody was watching them both very closely, they never would have known that he got the mushrooms from Floki. So to me, it seems like Torstein did not know what was going on, and that those were mushrooms that were poisonous in some way, but not enough to kill somebody. I mean, unless he's Loch Lamora from the Lies of Loch Lamora and knows how to make fake throw up to look like he's dead. I don't know.
I just think that's a really mean thing to do.
I agree.
But
that would suck.
Also, some of the stuff the Vikings do is mean. So I also can't say that it's totally out of the realm of possibility.
Well, the mushrooms obviously did something to Rollo as well. They had some effect on him. Right. They weren't just regular mushrooms. There are a couple theories about what kinds of mushrooms they were. And some people think that Floki gave Torstein and Rollo 2 different kinds of mushrooms, which I think they looked exactly the same. Though if you look closely, I had to pause on this part of the episode. When Floki's picking the mushrooms, he has 2 different kinds of mushrooms in his hand. But the ones that he got looked the same, that he gave to the 2 different men.
Maybe he gave Torstein more. Maybe he ingested more, so the effect was greater.
I mean, if nothing else, giving someone mushrooms that definitely have an effect on you is dangerous. It's not like you can regulate how it affects them. So unless you know exactly what you're doing as far as dosing, that can be scary.
Yeah. I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah. What I wonder about all of this deception is how were they all meeting without Horik or any of his men noticing to have their little, powwows about what they were going to do. When did Siggy go and secretly meet with Ragnar to tell him the plan? And when did, Ragnar tell everyone to come to the Great Hall at sunset? So that is season 2. Congratulations, you've made it through half of the seasons so far. But the next 2 seasons, next season I believe is 10 episodes, and then the 4th season is 20 episodes. So we're going to take a short hiatus before we start season 3. And during that time, we're going to come out with a new show by Something Cheeky covering some movies. It's very exciting. It's going to be the same concept where one of us has seen the movie, one has not. We're going to have the person who's seen the movie go over the synopsis of the plot, and the person who hasn't seen it is going to make predictions. Then we'll watch the trailer, more predictions. Then we'll watch the movie. Then we'll come back. And then we'll do our regular discussion like we usually do. And it's going to be awesome. We're starting out with Wonder Woman and Spider-Man Homecoming. And I'm very excited. So next season, we're going to start out with season 3, episode 1, called Mercenary. Give me some predictions.
Okay, if the episode is titled Mercenary, I feel like we're going to see mercenaries. And since we don't know any of...
Seems logical.
Since we don't know any of the Vikings that volunteered already, it seems like it would make sense that some people we do know would go to also be a mercenary, or to go with them, or to visit the land. Mercia? Mercia and mercenaries, I'm getting all confused.
Have mercy.
Have Mercia.
Sorry, that was a little too,
Uncle Jesse.
Uncle Joey. Jesse, that's it. I wouldn't mind if we met some new people.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. So Egbert and Ragnar are, what do you call it?
Or what?
When it's like a delicate matter. They're like, they have an agreement, but it's temperamental.
Fragile.
Yeah, I guess. They have a fragile truce, I suppose. With the decision to work together. Also, Ragnar's been given land, and now he's a king, which makes him even more equal to Egbert and to Ayla. So, I feel like we're definitely going to get more interaction with those guys.
In my view, Ragnar becoming a king the way that Vikings become kings, which is by taking it, versus English kings getting it via hereditary lines, makes him a much more powerful king than just because my daddy was king.
Even though it is by bloodline, Ayla and Egbert have been talking about taking over other people's land. Which would mean by force the way Vikings do it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I'm not sure where I was going with that. I was just pointing it out.
They're not stupid kings the way that Horik was a stupid king.
Oh my god. That guy. I'm so glad he's dead.
So just like we did last season, instead of Rosanna's top 3 for the episode, I'm going to do my top 3 of the season.
Yay!
Dun dun dun! So my category for top 3 are the top 3 deceptions of the season.
Good one.
So number 1, as you'd expect, Floki's deception against Horik, pretending he was going to betray Ragnar. This completely had me fooled the first time I watched it.
Yeah, it was a good trick.
My second favorite deception was when the Borg had taken Kattegat, Ragnar snuck in and burned the winter food stores, and that caused Jarl Borg and his men to follow them, which let Ragnar choose the battlefield and show up in force with Lagertha's support.
Mm-hmm.
Borg did not expect. So Ragnar got the upper hand, which allowed them to win the battle and take back Kattegat. Very fruitful.
And people still go up against Ragnar. It's like, hello, have you not heard any of these stories? This guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And this one didn't affect much, but I really, really enjoyed it. My very favorite deception this season was when Lagertha pretended to be a man, Earl Ingstad, to trick Ragnar.
I also love that.
The more I thought about it, on the surface it seemed like just a fun trick, but it really earned her respect. Instead of just looking like she was just coming to help to be near Ragnar, she was actually presenting herself as a powerful ally and equal, and really a cunning leader in her own right.
I also like that she continued to be known as an Earl.
Ah, yes.
People kept calling her Earl Ingstad.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked that she took that name, and not just so she sounded like a man, but she's actually using that title.
Yeah. So predictions for next season overall. What do you think? Give me some arcs that you think might happen.
I think the Siggy-Rollo relationship needs to be addressed.
Ah.
It's kind of rocky. I know Lagertha's going to be around. I'm not exactly sure how, but I wonder if that's going to create some friction with Ragnar and Aslog.
Oh, okay. Aslog will probably have 8 more children, all boys.
Before the next season starts.
Just has like a passel of children following her around all the time.
She's got one of those strollers that's 8 seats across.
She is Octomom.
She is. That's Princess Octomom to you. I think that there's going to be some resolution to the relationship between Thorne and Bjorn.
Okay.
I am hoping that is going to fall apart. For one thing, I don't really like them together. And another thing, we've got this prophecy that he's going to marry the daughter of a king.
Well, first loves rarely go anywhere.
That's very true. But like in Vikings time, maybe they did. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would be alright if they were just like, hey, let's be friends.
That seems likely to happen.
Well, and if Bjorn starts traveling with Ragnar, he'll meet other people. So...
By other people, you mean other women.
Well, I mean, like
daughters
of kings, exactly. Though I guess Bjorn's a prince now.
Well, we did say he looked like a Disney prince last episode, so...
He is.
Or a previous episode.
Yeah, I guess he is now. It's official.
He's got that rakish look about him.
Something about the eyes. When they have, like, nice twinkly blue eyes. I don't know, they just look like cartoons. Like, what's the name of the guy from Supernatural that looks like a Disney princess?
Jared? No, not Jared Padalecki.
Yeah,
it's the other one. Jensen Ackles?
Jensen Ackles.
Is that his name?
If you ever look
He's very
at
pretty.
pictures of just his eyes on the internet, it's like they were drawn by Walt Disney himself. They're so beautiful. Okay, what else? Who else?
What's going on in England? What's going to happen over there?
I think that maybe at some point throughout the season we're going to get people traveling to England and, setting up a settlement.
Okay.
Because they have this land now. I would think Ragnar would want to send people there to use it. Maybe it'll be some people from Lagertha's land. Maybe it'll be some from Ragnar's. Which, it might be kind of interesting to see the Vikings, not the Vikings that are warriors, but the Vikings as villagers, interacting with the English villagers.
Yeah.
That could be...
Trying to learn the language.
And it could be really funny. Like, when we saw them having dinner together.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. So...
It was.
The sort of culture clash between the two groups might be entertaining.
See how many get converted.
Well, and also, there's going to be, at some point, marriages between the two
It's true.
types of people. That always happens, so...
I mean, Gwenthrith already wants to breed with them.
It's weird. It's weird that she said she wants to breed.
Yeah, that's that word. I never feel comfortable with that word used with humans.
It's very strange.
It's awkward.
I guess it would be weird, though, too, if she said, I want to have your baby. I mean, that would be kind of weird. Also. So, I don't know if there's a good way for her to put it.
It's almost worse than mate. What, to mate with them?
Yeah, I also don't like that one.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? She's kind of weird. I would guess that we're going to see more of her in this next season.
Okay.
I hope that they write her a bit differently.
Beyond just wanting to have sex with everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care if that's part of her deal, but I don't want that to be everything about her. I would like a little more about her character. That can't be the only thing there is interesting about her.
Well, to be honest, they don't give the women in the show much beyond, like, 1.5 dimensions.
I know, but...
Lagertha gets the most. Aslog
gets none.
She's a woman who has a bunch of kids, and she has some prophecies sometimes. That's basically the extent of her characterization.
Yeah. Siggy, I think, has shown a little more depth than a lot of the other characters.
True.
More than Aslog, for sure.
Helga's got nothing.
No, Helga's got nothing.
Thorin is straight one-dimensional.
Totally.
And those are all of our women beyond women that have come in and out for half a second, somebody's wife.
Yeah. Yep. So,
yeah.
If she is going to be around, it would be nice if she had a little more depth.
Yeah, I agree. What about Athelstan? What is he doing? We hardly saw him in this episode. I love Athelstan.
I might like to see Athelstan find a partner. Find a woman.
Mm-hmm. To breed with?
To mate with. I'd like him to find a mate. I think it would be nice for him to have that sort of intimate relationship. It might be a little healing for him. But I sure don't know who it could possibly be. I very much hope it's not Quenthrith.
Oh, God.
That is not a match I am comfortable with.
I never need to see that.
It feels very cougar-y. Even though I don't think she's older than him, it seems predatory of her. He just seems too innocent for her.
Yeah.
So I'd like him to find someone that would appreciate the things that we love about him.
So you're saying you want him to find a virgin?
No, it doesn't have to be a virgin. I just want somebody that appreciates his sensitivity, his personality, his sense of humor, his loyalty, his faith. You know, all of these things that make him a great character, the reasons we love him. I want somebody that appreciates those things.
Maybe he and Aethelwulf will make up and we'll finally have a gay relationship in this show. So we had kind of two big bads this season with Jarl Borg and King Horik. Who do you think is going to be the big bad next season? Somebody new? Somebody already around? Somebody going to turn on somebody else?
I don't think the partnership between Egbert and Ayla is going to work out very well because I think that there's not a lot of trust between them. So any agreement that they have could be... What am I trying to say?
So you're thinking that they have the same fragile truce?
It's a precarious agreement. Yeah. It could fall apart just with the slightest move from either one of them.
Okay.
I don't think that they trust each other.
I'm not sure how much I believe that the marriage actually does much.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of an effect that really does have on it.
Just because Egbert still seems to have the upper hand no matter what.
Definitely.
He is definitely smarter than Ayla.
Yeah. He is Ragnar to Ayla's Horik.
Yes. Now it's time for Cheek of the Week, where we talk about something good that we like and want to share with you. This week, my cheek is Spider-Man Homecoming movie.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can.
I can't even sing that song anymore. I could only hear Spider Pig, Spider Pig.
Spider Pig, Spider Pig.
Thank you, Simpsons, for bringing us Spider Pig. I saw Spider-Man Homecoming last weekend, and it was awesome. I really, really liked it. By far my favorite Spider-Man. Tom Holland is perfect for the role. It was so much fun. The whole movie was hilarious. It was really great writing. There wasn't a really heavy romantic plot. I mean, we obviously had that kind of subplot, but it wasn't all about Peter Parker in love with somebody and that was half the movie. It wasn't a really big deal, the crush that he had, which made me so happy that we got to see, he's a 15-year-old kid. We don't need to see this epic love story yet. We're not there yet. I'm okay with that happening in Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3. So we really got the full story of him kind of figuring out who he is. Didn't have the origin story that we've seen a million times before. And we had some really fun characters, including Captain America PSAs, which made me very, very happy. They were so funny. They were so funny.
The post-credit was the best one.
Yeah, that was really good.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
And it wasn't an Iron Man movie. I was really nervous that it was going to be like 50% Tony Stark. And thank God it wasn't. I don't have anything against Tony Stark. He's not my favorite Avenger. But it was him just enough, which was nice.
Who is your favorite Avenger?
I think Spider-Man might be my favorite Avenger. I really love Captain America. I want to love Black Widow, but I haven't gotten enough of her yet. And I feel like they put her in really weird positions. Like, the whole Black Widow and Hulk has always seemed really forced. Yeah, I don't like that. I would be interested to see how it went if she got her own movie.
Yeah.
But the way that they've had her in the current Marvel Universe movies, it doesn't make me like her very much. Hulk, definitely not. I really don't care. I love Mark Ruffalo. I do not care about Bruce Banner. Don't give a crap. I'm not a big fan of Tony Stark, and I know that offends you. I'm so sorry, Rosanna.
I'm not offended.
You love RDJ.
I really do.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the Black Panther movie to get more about him. Mm-hmm. But I don't know much about him yet, because I haven't read any of the comics, so this is all my stuff is based on the movies that have come out. Thor, I like, but he's weird. He half the time he's not even there because he's off in Asgard doing God knows what.
God's
magic
what.
belt. Ha ha ha.
Did you say his magic belt?
Doesn't he have a magic belt?
No.
They said something about a magic belt in the Spider-Man movie.
They said belt?
Yeah. He's got a magic belt. I don't know what it does.
I don't remember.
Maybe
him
we'll find out
having
in
a
Thor
magic-
Ragnarok.
Maybe so. All I can think of when you say Thor and a belt is He-Man. Didn't he have a magic belt?
Maybe. I haven't seen that show in forever.
Yeah, I don't know.
And She-Ra. God, I love She-Ra. I need a live-action She-Ra movie. By the power of Grayskull. So yeah, I think at this point, with what I've seen in the movies, Spider-Man is definitely my favorite Avenger.
Alright.
Yeah. I'm excited to see more Avengers come out as more movies come out.
Yeah.
So listeners, you should go see Spider-Man. By the time this episode comes out, I'm sure it will still be in theaters. But they've been coming out with movies on video or DVD. Movies aren't coming out on video anymore. Blu-ray, whatever. Soon enough. So you can see it then too. And I read about a lot of deleted scenes and little bonus things that were cut out of the movie that will probably be on the Blu-ray when it comes out with all the bonus features.
Love that.
So I'm very excited to see those when it comes out. So check out Spider-Man Homecoming because it is great.
And so is Tom Holland.
I love Tom Holland.
He's so great.
He is. He's adorable.
All right, listeners, you can visit our website to find all of our Cheeks of the Week, learn about our other podcasts, send us questions and feedback, and you can support the show through our Amazon affiliate link at somethingcheekypodcast.com/Amazon.
That's our episode. Please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps. Follow us on Twitter at SomeCheek and Facebook.com/SomeCheek and Instagram at SomethingCheekyPodcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Dig-a-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.